In October 2021, almost 2 years ago now, I started watching a show called The Ghost and Molly McGee. At the time, I did not think much about it. The show was alright, but I was a lot more invested in another Disney cartoon at the time. You guys likely know what that was. But despite my obsession with it, Molly McGee has occupied a small section of my mind for the past couple of years now, and after that show ended, it became the prominent cartoon that I was invested in. Not just because I needed a new show to be invested in, but also because Molly McGee, with its season 2, has become very fascinating to watch. Now, this isn't going to be a full-on review of the show to convince you guys to watch it. I already did that a few months back, and most of my thoughts from that video largely hold up. Feel free to check it out if you haven't already, but the overall gist is that I still enjoy most of the characters, most of the storylines that have been set up, and most of the comedic moments they show. Overall, I genuinely think Season 2 of the show is stronger compared to Season 1, which already was a fairly strong start. However, as much as I have enjoyed the season so far, and look forward to its finale, I cannot help but think about the show's current problem that might potentially ruin my view of it. What is that problem? Well, the answer is very complicated. It's Ollie. Okay, yeah, so I admit that when I suggested this video idea to you guys, I was actually going to bring up a different problem that I had with the show, but as I thought more about it, and especially after watching the most recent episode of it, the problems I had with the show really stems back to Ollie, specifically his role with the show's story. To be clear though, as a character with his traits, Ollie is actually a good character. He's fun, optimistic, environmentally conscious, empathetic, and so on. But he's not a Gary Stu kind of character. His optimistic, do-gooder personality can lead to major problems that cause more harm than good, and he's forced to learn to be less stubborn and more pragmatic. In a vacuum, Ollie would have been a great character to watch, and to be fair, he has some pretty good moments that I find interesting.
Holly, let us in! We're trying to help!
Blair shouldn't have to confront her past if it makes her feel bad. Go away!
But of course, the problem is that Molly McGee already exists as the main character of this show, and has nearly all of the same characteristics as him, but with the character development, which makes her exponentially more interesting than him. Now, having the same characteristics isn't really much of a problem if Ollie has interesting dynamics with other characters. Sadly, even that is not true. When it comes to his interactions with Molly, for example, I don't know about you, but I find them rather bland. I'm not referring to the romance angle, although I am glad that the show relaxed on pushing it on us. What I'm kind of annoyed about is how Molly and Ollie basically have no conflicts or disagreements against each other. Usually, a great character dynamic involves two or more characters having some form of disagreement or resentment towards each other, and they work together to resolve that conflict. We see this with many relationships, from Lumity to the Mystery Twins to
Sprint against the world!
To be fair, Molly and Ollie's relationship did have some contention at some points as well, particularly with Ollie's ghost hunting background, but the show has already resolved at least most of it, which basically leaves nothing left for these two characters to spice up their interactions. The only other characters we see him interact with are Libby and Scratch. Annoyingly, Ollie and Libby don't have that many interesting moments together, at least none that I can think of. Scratch is the only character in my opinion who had some decent moments with Ollie that contribute to both of their character development, which makes a lot of sense given their personalities and backgrounds. But he is very much the exception. Everyone else, he barely interacts with them, if at all, even with his own family. Speaking of which, that's another thing I dislike about Ollie's presence in this show. With the amount of screen time we see of him with Molly and now Scratch, we have barely seen his family in this season. That's kind of infuriating to see, considering that I think the other Chens have more interesting personalities than Ollie at face value. June, for example, looks like a more interesting character than his brother with her ability to create gadgets and analyze complex situations. Not to mention, she is also the first canonically autistic character of this show.
Remember what to say when we receive a gift?
Oh, right. Thank you for the gift. How kind of you to think of us. I'm autistic, and I guess not everyone can handle my unbridled truth.
Honesty is the best policy.
Now, I'm not saying that she's interesting just because she's autistic, but knowing that she is makes it more interesting to see what she does next and learn more about her. I also want to presume the parents of the Chen household are also interesting characters too. However, I can't know that for sure right now because we barely see them. So far, the only episodes where they appeared extensively are the Season 2 premiere and Frightmares on Main Street, both of which are actually some of my favorite episodes of Molly McGee so far. But as of right now, the episodes that I enjoyed the most in this season are the ones where Ollie is not involved and mainly revolves around the more established characters. Thankfully, while I don't really like how the show is handling Ollie's presence in the show itself, I am enjoying everything else about Season 2. The show has gone out of its way to give more in-depth character development for the main characters and even side characters like Libby and Andrea. We also get to learn a bit of lore about Scratch with his past and his current role as chairman of the Ghost World, forcing him to grow out of his usual lazy self and actually become more responsible. In fact, Scratch right now is kind of carrying the whole season, both for the overall character development of the show and its development of plot lines. However, I'll save my analysis on Scratch for a later video because after some recent episodes, there is quite a lot to unpack. So with all that being said, as much as I ripped Ollie for what he does whenever he is on screen, I still have high hopes for this show. Molly and Scratch and all of the other characters are still excellent, and I look forward to seeing what's next for them. The show has left quite a lot of seeds for potential new plot lines to develop, some of which involves Ollie and the rest of the Chins too. So I still expect them to gain more character development and drive the plot of the show forward, which will hopefully turn them into very good characters that I'll enjoy watching. Although, the show is appearing to be running out of episodes. As of making this video, there are at least 7 episodes left of Season 2, which is not a lot of time left for Ollie and the Chins to complete their arcs, especially considering the other storylines that the show has, which don't involve them directly. Now you could say that the writers are saving all of that for Season 3, but what's concerning is that Season 3 of The Ghost and Molly McGee has still not been greenlit yet. Normally, a Season 3 for a Disney cartoon, or any Disney show as a matter of fact, would be announced around the time when its Season 2 begins airing. So for the show to be just past the halfway point of Season 2 and there's still no confirmation for a 3rd season, that is probably my biggest concern for the show now that I think about it. Now I still believe that Season 3 will happen. The Ghost and Molly McGee is a show that essentially covers what Disney wants from its cartoons, especially with its current era, so I see no reason why it would be cancelled at this point. But just in case that the show is in danger of getting axed due to low ratings or something, I urge you guys to actually watch the show if you haven't already. Despite its flaws, I really do enjoy the show, and I want others to do the same. But if you have already watched The Ghost and Molly McGee, let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and please give this video a like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, thanks again to Seb13 and MB Command Nerd for supporting this channel directly, and thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all have a great day. See you in the next one!